Chapter 11. Piper. As I look around, I firmly believe I have lost my mind. "I can't believe you talked me into this," I say, tugging on my shirt. I can't remember the last time I put on workout gear, and I feel exposed, even though I'm wearing leggings and a long-sleeve shirt. Very little of my skin is showing, but that does nothing to ease my self-consciousness. "You said you were open to trying new things. This definitely qualifies," Patrick says, and flashes a smile at me. He looks completely at home in his long shorts and muscle shirt. "It qualifies as insanity," I grumble. "It should be Charlie here and not me. I don't even run when it's dry and flat. How am I supposed to run in the mud?" "We'll take it slow and easy. I want you to attempt every obstacle, but if you can't get through them, then you can bypass them. But you have to at least try." I can't believe you do this for fun. This is not my idea of fun at all. It's too early in the morning for one thing. It's a little chilly and the clouds overhead look like they could dump rain on us at any time. And it's going to be dirty. I'm not a diva like Belle, but this just seems illogical to me. Why would anyone voluntarily jump into a puddle of mud? Patrick smiles at me and shakes his head. "Just give it a chance, Piper. I think you'll have more fun than you think." A man takes the stage to our right and the crowd around us cheers. "You guys ready to get a little muddy?" the man yells into a microphone. For the first time, I notice the large black speakers set up near the race start. The crowd cheers again. "I figured you were. We'll get started in just a few minutes, but there are a few rules. First, how many of you have done a Tough Mudder before?" Another round of cheers erupts and arms around me shoot into the air. It appears that 2/3 of this crowd is just as insane as Patrick. "All right. You guys know the drill then. Be sure to watch out for the newbies, give them a word of encouragement, and remember that no one gets left behind on this course. We all help each other." What exactly are we supposed to be helping each other with? Isn't this just running in some mud? I probably should have researched what this entailed a little more, but I was afraid that if I did, I might chicken out. "Okay, this heat will start in 30 seconds. Let's start the countdown at 10. If only the guy were talking about literal heat instead of just the group of people we are in. I should be thankful it's not raining, but the air is still chilly and my fingers already feel a little numb. "We picked a good time," Patrick says, looking around. "This group looks smaller than last year, though there will probably still be crowding at the obstacles." Wait, obstacles? "Don't worry, I'll be right by your side." Around us, the people begin shouting the countdown. But even that barely drowns out the thundering of my heart in my chest. What exactly have I gotten myself into? 1! The sound of a horn fills the air, and then we're moving. It's a slow walk at first, but soon the fastest people move to the front, and the group thins out some. Patrick and I remain near the back, but we begin jogging. Then suddenly there's a wall of people ahead of us, and I hear a strange sound. It's a sloshing sound, like stepping in a puddle, but thicker. And when the crowd moves forward, I realize why. There are giant mud pits in front of us. And by giant, I mean like 6 feet wide and at least 3 feet across. 3 of them, to be exact. And it appears that you jump into one and then climb up out of it only to jump into the next one. I don't think I can do this. I'm a bookworm, not an athlete. How am I supposed to climb out? "I'll jump in first and climb up. Then you can use my hand if you can't get a good foothold. I'll pull you up," Patrick says. I shake my head. How are we supposed to just jump in? We don't know what's down there. What if it's rocks and we break our ankles? Patrick looks at all the people around us jumping in and climbing out.
No one else is breaking anything, Piper. I promise it will be okay. Be brave and try new things, remember?
Before I can respond, he jumps into the mud pit, the mud enveloping him to his chest. Then he follows the others before him and begins to climb out. When he gets to the top of the mound, he throws one leg over each side and grins up at me.
Come on, Piper. I've got you.
My heart is pounding so hard now that I can feel it all the way down to my toes. There is no way I can jump in like he did, because even though he didn't get hurt, I am positive that I will. But I sit down on the mound and, after a deep breath, slide in. The mud goes up to my shoulders and splashes onto my face, and I can feel it seeping into my shoes. It's like water, only thicker and grittier.
That's the way,
Patrick says, as I slog my way over to him.
Now give me your hand.
He holds out his hand, which is coated with mud, but I have no idea how that's going to work, as my hand is covered too. I reach up and he grasps my hand, quickly bringing his other hand around to grab my arm. My shoes feel like they're on ice as I try to find a foothold, but somehow Patrick manages to get me up. Of course, as soon as I reach him, my foot slips again, and I tumble into his chest, the momentum sending both of us over the edge of the mound and down into the next pit. This time, due to the way we fall, the mud comes up to my chin, and for a moment, I think I'm going to get sucked under. Can you drown in mud? Before I have a chance to find out, I feel Patrick's arm around me, pushing me up.
Well, that wasn't quite the way I planned on entering, he says, chuckling. You okay?
Yeah, sorry. I told you I'm no good at this. I don't know if it's visible underneath the mud on my face, but I feel the heat of embarrassment climbing my neck.
You're doing great. You ready to tackle the next one?
I shake my head, but I watch as he climbs out in hopes of copying his motions. When he straddles the mound again and reaches his hand down, I grab it and follow his footsteps. Either this mound is easier, or I'm actually getting the hang of it as I scramble up this mound without falling.
One more. You ready?
He asks as we turn to face the last pit. I nod and we slide in together, and then we're up and out the other side. Though the mud feels heavy and slightly cold as we begin jogging again, I find myself smiling. Never in a million years would I have done something like this, yet here I am. The jog is longer this time before we hit another line of people. My heart drops when I see the obstacle. It's a 7-foot wall with ropes hanging down over the side, and as I watch, people are grabbing the ropes and rappelling up the wall. Well, some are. Others are sliding hopelessly back down, while still others are simply jumping, grabbing the top, and hauling themselves over. The wall is only about 10 feet in length, and there is nothing stopping people from just going around. I think I'm going to skip this one, I tell Patrick, knowing my arm strength is lacking.
No skipping. You have to at least attempt every obstacle. I'll go first and straddle the top just like I did at the mound.
No way, I say, shaking my head. It's too dangerous. Remember what happened at the first mound? If I pull you off the wall, there is no mud to catch you.
It will be fine. Trust me.
I barely know Patrick outside of work, but there is something in his confidence that makes me do just that. And I find myself nodding. Okay. When it's our turn, Patrick chooses the rope farthest to the end and easily scrambles up. His shirt is molded to his body from the mud, and I can see the muscles of his back and arms rippling. Again, I feel my neck heating up, but that is crazy. Patrick is my colleague, not a love interest. And even if I did happen to find him attractive, he is way out of my league. My way less muscled boyfriend broke up with me. Why would someone like Patrick want to date someone like me? Your turn, he says when he is situated at the top. I shake my head but grab the rope. I try to climb the way I watched him do it, but my hands slide down the rope and my feet get no grip on the wall. It's no use.
No, we're not giving up that easily.
He bites his bottom lip as he surveys the situation, but before he can say anything, I feel hands on my waist. I scream and bat at them, turning to see a giant bearded man smiling at me. The behemoth laughs.
You must be a newbie. I'm just helping.
And then I'm halfway up the wall. Patrick grabs a hold of my arms, and the behemoth moves his hands from my hips to my feet and pushes me the rest of the way up. I guess this is what the guy at the starting point meant when he said they help each other out. I'm still too shocked to say anything, but Patrick hollers a thank you to the guy, and then we turn to assess how to get down. On the other side of the wall is a cargo net, and Patrick helps me turn and get situated before climbing down beside me.
2 down, he says with a smile when we reach the ground.
And how many to go?
He shakes his head. I don't think you really want that answer. Come on.
He pulls me into a jog beside him, and now I can feel the mud sloshing between my toes. How do you ignore the feeling of mud in between your toes? I ask.
He shrugs. You just get used to it, I guess.
The next obstacle is monkey bars, and a feeling of dread fills me as we approach. I've never been able to do the monkey bars, not when I was younger and not now. There's no way I'm going to make it across with slippery mud coating my hands. Patrick, I can't do the monkey bars, I say, as we slow down at the end of the line.
Hey, he grabs a hold of my shoulders. All you have to do is try. It doesn't matter how far you make it. It just matters that you try.
My body is tingling under his touch, and I try to calm my racing heart. I cannot develop feelings for Patrick. While that is a novel idea, it actually is not very beneficial. If I know I can't make it across, what is the point in trying? He drops his hands from my shoulders and gives me a crooked smile.
Because you never know what you can do until you try. Maybe you won't make it across this time, but if you keep trying, then one day you will.
I shake my head. Have you always been such an optimist? His smile falters for just a second, and he takes a deep breath.
No, not always. When my wife first left me, I was pretty negative. And when she filed for divorce, I found it hard to find the positive in anything. But when I saw how my negativity was affecting Amelia, I knew I had to work on it. So I made a change.
I wish that was easier for me.
It takes practice, so let's start now. Tell yourself that even if you fall, you'll do better next time.
We step a little closer to the monkey bars, and my throat dries up. I'll do my best. The monkey bars aren't super high, but they are over a mud pit, and my fear resurfaces of breaking an ankle when I fall in. I watch the people in front of us. The guy makes it all the way across without falling, but the girl behind him falls on bar 3. I wait for the mud to swallow her up, but it only goes to her knees. That makes me feel a little better, but only a little.
Do you want me to go first or after you?
Patrick asks me when it's our turn. I want him to go first, but I am terrified that if he does, I won't have the guts. At least with him behind me, he can push me to try. I'll go first.
Okay, you're up then.
My shoulders lift with my breath, and then I'm grabbing the first bar. I manage to hang on to it, but before I can grasp the second bar, my hand slips and I fall into the mud. It sucks me into my knees. But thankfully, no rocks. I slog my way out of the pit and wait for Patrick to go. Of course, the man swings effortlessly across the monkey bars like a regular Tarzan and doesn't fall in the mud. But I can say that I feel a sense of pride. No, I didn't make it across, but I did try.
You survived, Patrick says with a smile when he reaches the other side.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Good, because the next one is hard in a different way.
Different how? I ask, but Patrick just shakes his head and begins jogging. Though the mud isn't deep here, I feel like I'm still slogging through it based on how much is coating my shoes and my legs. There is mud squishing in places where mud should not be, and I'm suddenly worried about what I'm going to do if I have to go to the bathroom. Pulling my clothes down to use the facilities will be hard enough, but how on earth will I get them back up? That leads my mind to wander down an even grosser path. What if people aren't bothering to fuss with the bathrooms and they're just relieving themselves in the mud? It's not like anyone would notice. My stomach churns at the thought, but before I can process it further, a large white container comes into view. What is that? I ask as we slow down at the end of the line. He turns and grins at me.
That is the ice bath.
The what? I'm really starting to question Patrick's sanity as he looks excited to jump into a container filled with ice.
The ice bath. That container is filled with ice and water. You have to climb in one side and make your way across to the other side.
I glance up at the darkening sky. It looks like it's about to rain. Are you sure jumping into ice water is smart?
It might not be, but that's the obstacle, and it won't be the last time we get wet.
I can't believe you got me to do this, I say, shaking my head. He looks at me for a second, and an expression I cannot decipher crosses his face.
To be honest, neither can I, but you're doing great, and this will be no different.
I take a deep breath and nod. I may not believe it yet, but he's been right about everything else, so I'm going to trust him. When we reach the container, Patrick scrambles in first and then holds out a hand for me. I climb up the side, then take his hand and jump in. For a moment, I freeze as the icy water eats right through my clothes and to my bones. It's so cold. My teeth chatter with each word.
It is, so let's move quickly.
He begins to pull me across, and I look down at his hand holding mine. There's nothing romantic in this situation, yet I can't stop the tingles shooting up my arm. And though I am freezing, my hand feels warm in his. When we reach the other end, Patrick puts his hands on my hips and lifts me up so I can grab the side. Though my hands are frozen, they somehow manage to grasp the rim of the container, and I practically fall over on the other side. Thankfully, the ground is soft and nothing breaks.
Are you okay?
He asks, landing beside me. Before I can say anything, his arms are around me and warmth is spreading through my body. I'm okay, I think. That was just really cold.
Yeah, but at least it got the mud off.
He offers me a crooked grin. I'd say that was a good thing, but we're probably just going to add it back, aren't we?
Hey, we're almost halfway through. You've made it this far. I know you can go the rest of the way.
I wouldn't have believed it yesterday, but I believe Patrick now. He makes me feel as if I could do anything, and that thought both encourages me and terrifies me.